see. Yeah, that's working. All right. Cool. Morning. We'll have to see if this is the version with lyrics or not, because it's a great song to start to, but... it is. Oh, I don't have everything open anyway. Gotta do everything manually. It's too early. Too late. I don't know. It's everything. It's everything always. All the things. Okay, let me get some more stuff going here. Give me a sec. Totally did not do everything I needed to because I was doing other things. So I did some of what I needed to. Just a lot of the things for the stream did not get set up, which is excellent. Ultra professional. Screw it. We'll leave the lyrics as are. 2 in a row. They're good songs. Morning, Scott. Probably get a howdy in a second. Everything, that's what's not on. It's all the extra stuff. Morning. Howdy, 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 howdy. Oh, I need this caffeine to hit quicker. It should be fun today. Man, I hope so. Been trying to do a mail day video on quite a few packages for a while. It has not come together. And so instead of trying to do 2 things, which is also trying to be here at least once a week, and do that, I'm going to do this. One big thing. Howdy, howdy, I'm Brecht. Brecht? I don't have a decent German accent. Arthur. Howdy, 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 howdy. I'm glad you guys are doing the howdy. It's much appreciative. It's very appreciative. Okay, so that's in. We're good there. That's in. We didn't get you soon enough, Scott, so howdy. Scott K says, howdy, Cody. There you go. Alright, so that's good, that's good, that's good, that's on. All the things are on. All the things are on. Alright, we're good. We're good. Except for the caffeine needs to get in my bloodstream a little bit quicker. Alright, I hope you folks have been well. Crazy time of year. Not the most fun for me, but I'm going to try and make it a little bit more fun today, at least. And then tomorrow is going to be a long one for me. So, let's, oh, there you go. Cool. I'm just glad I didn't insult it. That's never my bit. So, we've got, I don't know, 5 packages or so to open. All mail day stuff from the last few months that I've not gotten to. So we're going to do that. We're going to start there. If you folks have anything else you want to chat about along the way, that's wonderful and very much appreciative. Appreciated. I'll be very much appreciative. Brains in a fog. So here's a first one, folks. Then we'll do updates after this stuff. I'd like to clip this as a separate, mail day video, but we'll see. We'll see. So, first one. Obvious, classic Gemini style mailer dealy. It did have an outside skin, but yeah. Right. We're on the same vibe. We're on the same vibe there, Scott. I don't know. But let's count him as presents. Because why the hell not? Alright. So, no, I'm not sure what any of these are. That's true. That is all funny. Well, and also just because I'm so damn skilled, my friend. So it was actually a Gemini mailer. They went, this is no bootleg mailer here for, what is it? Who is it? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Ooh, double post. It's true, though. It's true. I think he just wanted to make sure everybody heard him. That's okay. All right, so this was Screecher by the Phoenix Press. I'm excited. Very interesting. So I'm guessing this is the creator's last names. It's an interesting way to put it. Interesting. I liked this cover quite a bit. It reminds me a lot of like a Judas Priest photo op, right? And you'd have Rob Halford on the Harley on stage. So I had to snag it for that. Excited to read this. I haven't read anything from Phoenix Press, but they've been making comics for a good chunk of time. They put out quite a few. I think 2100 Samurai is another title I've heard of from them. I'm stoked. I'm so behind on reading. I will get to these things. I think there will be a time, hopefully soon, I need it, where I can just breathe and do these kinds of fun stuff. But for now, it's been hard for me to find space to breathe and read and do other things. It has been occurring, so it's not a constant grind. But yeah, it's tough. But the Screecher, really love this cover. Big fan of the cover. And it came with a sweet owl sticker. And I'm a big fan of Birds of Prey. My father was a falconer for a long time, so I grew up with a lot of his stories. And I even had a kestrel for a little while, or a sparrowhawk, whatever part of the country you're in, calls it something different, or part of the world, actually. I think they're a global species. Birds of Prey have always been kind of a source of magic for me as well. They're a reminder of good things. And owls, of course, wisdom, all that fun stuff. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Okay, package number 2. You can probably hear the crinkling. Ooh, what is this? What is this? Ooh, it's look at comic cardboard. Well, as soon as I open it, right now. I know what these are. They're not comics. They're something very, very cool. It's fine. It's fine. Just remember, everything's permanent here. The lady reads it whether you delete it or not. She has no mercy. Cold, calculated artificial intelligence designed 100% to make this stream, I don't know, more streamy? Anyway, this is really cool. These are the sketch cards from Illustrator Monk that are going out to backers. I was trying to figure out what they were, so I'm really stoked these came in. All good. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Peregrines are awesome. Peregrines are awesome. We have red-tailed hawks. We have grouse hawks, I think is the term. We have a few around here. Owls. I've been around a lot of owls. Well, not a lot of owls. I've been around a few owls. Screech owls or burrowing owls. I think they were burrowing owls. They're both tiny little guys who live in holes. So they're awesome. And then barn owls quite a bit. Barn owls are super, super neat. If you ever try and listen to a owl fly in person, it's crazy silent. It's really cool. But on to Illustrator Monk sketch cards. Signed by the wonderful individual himself, going out to the awesome folks who helped make Jack number 4 a thing at a slightly higher tier, which was really a hell of a blessing, folks. Hell of a blessing. It's been all of our campaigns are a bit of a rougher ride than I'd like. On every angle. honestly, from production and to the campaign itself, all of that. So the little pieces of magic, very cool. So these are going out. I still have to catch up on my own drawn sketch cards, which will be on the channel again as I find space. Should be soon. We'll talk more about that towards the update section of this. But awesome, those are in from the awesome illustrator Monk. I'm glad they are in safe hands and are just going to wait to get them out. Yes, sir, he does. Very kind of him. That was an extra little bit of, again, IronVerse Comics, my own personal work, has found many, many great friends and fans, and I am extremely grateful for it. It's the only reason this work exists. I mean, I'm a bit of a screw-up on my ends in a lot of cases, but we're good. Get stuff done. So, we have another one in a Gemini mailer. This one I already looked because I was on autopilot. But this is from another member of IronVerse Comics. The ever-incredible Mrs. H. This is Captain Orange. She's got this campaign. I think the campaign finished. Either finished today or yesterday. I don't remember what day the campaign was finishing for her. Cute little button. As well. Decided to read the remaster. I did a review of the original version.
Asia Research Directorate said,
Oh, that's a serious name.
Merry Christmas, Cody and chat.
Howdy! Howdy, howdy. Very serious name. I'm sure you mean something else, Scott, but in temporary terms, display screen? Oh yeah, VoiceBot's not working because I have to go in and actually like wake him up first. I didn't used to have to do that. Wake up. Display screen. There you go. If folks need a quote-unquote landing page, IronVerseComics.com. Check it out. All our links, all the stuff where you can interact. Go ahead and check it out. But I think Scott means something else. He's the wonderful creator of The Recluse, which you can watch the teaser trailer right here on IronVerseComics.com right now. If you're curious on what he's doing there, it's a ongoing apocalyptic Robin Hood story is the easiest way to explain it, but there's a lot more depth and layers and just awesome to it. So check out the teaser if that gets you hyped. Check out the issue number 4 campaign.
Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm looking forward to reading my digital.
Almost. So the digitals will be out here soon. Steve got a bit behind on the colors. I got way behind on the lettering script. We'll get to that part. We'll get to that point. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all the good stuff. Good ship crew pin from the wonderful Mrs. H. Captain Orange remaster number 1. This is her first printed comic release. Very proud of her. Came out beautifully. Had a dress-up doll, little paper dress-up doll sticker, and a adorable toast sticker. Look at the reflection. Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy, howdy. To everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. All the good stuff. All the good stuff. All right. Welcome. All right. But yeah, I think Scott and I have been speaking about doing an IronVerse newsletter kind of dealy as well. So that may have been, I may have misinterpreted the phrasing. But so far so good. We got some good stuff in. All right, we got 2 more. I actually don't know what's in this one because I covered all the information. But it is another comic. It's a comic. Let's see. Let's see, folks. Ooh, indie comics in the back. Look at that. Oh, I know what this is. This is cool. Trash. Yes. We do need to do that. We'll throw it up on IronVerseComics.com. We can throw it into some Twitter profile bios or a pinned tweet. I am going to change my pin tweet here. I am ending, this is part of the updates, which I'd rather put into their own section. But it's fine. Whatever. It's my live stream. I do what I want. I will be ending the campaign New Year's. I was hoping to hit 15K, just so we can say we hit 15K, right? Honestly, it doesn't really make that big of a difference from where we are. But I don't think we're gonna before production finishes. I can answer that. Yeah, it kind of bothered me, honestly. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be talked about. The circles that were talking about the Iron Age of comics, they would rather me not exist, and so they pretend I don't. So I thought it was funny, too. I was just like, yeah, sure, yeah, you guys are starting that. But it's fun. I'm glad it gave you a chuckle, right? Like, if it's bringing any kind of positivity, good on it. Pumped up. It's a mix of manic depression and a gladness that I'm finally getting this over with. It's a thing that's been on my back for months now, trying to get this mail day thing done, and it just was not happening. So I'm ripping a band-aid off today. And you know, I'm trying to bring some more positive energy to this time of year for me. It's been rough since Thanksgiving, and it's kind of a relentless assault till March for me, on just like stuff. So you know, try to add something to it tomorrow. I'm at work all day, which is nice. In some ways, I'm just like super heavy in other ways. So I just trying to put some effort in, and I know I've done many streams that have a darker tone to them, is the best way to put it, a bluer tone. And I didn't want to bring that to Christmas. I really didn't. So, but I also didn't want to miss a week, and I have Saturday off, so I'm here. That's what I want to do. But this is really cool. So, Indie Comics in the back, right? Now, what's cool about this? Yes, very much so. Pin. I don't think you guys can guess what that is just yet. But now you can. This is Tomorrow Girl. This is the other crossover that Iconic Comics did this year. Besides the Soul Finder crossover, they also did an Antarctic Press crossover. Now, I don't see the Antarctic Press anywhere on this, but this is from Ben Dunn, so he's the publisher head of Antarctic Press. It's Tomorrow Girl X Common America. I'm very curious. Ben Dunn has a massive history in independent comics. It is a unsung history, which bothers me, honestly. He helped popularize the concept of Amerimanga. He's one of the, back when it was, you know, when we called anime Japanimation, right? Hyped for this. Good old indeed. Good old indeed. I hope so. So I'm stoked to check it out. I haven't read any event stuff for a very long time. I've come across Gold Digger. I've come across Ninja High School. I've come across quite a few Anarchy Press tales. That'll work. In my comic collecting history, and I know and have known quite a few creators over at Anarchy Press, and they got a pretty nasty rap at one point, and I don't think they quite recovered in the social media circuit end of it. I don't think they ever really took a hit, or at least a big one, in the collecting circle and people who were already Anarchy Press readers. But still, look at this cool poster. Very cool. So I'm excited. I really appreciate these folks over there at Antarctic Press for doing what they've been doing for so long. It's really hard to be a small independent publisher in this game. It's crazy hard. Very few stick around, and even fewer were there to see it when you were still like pre-internet, right? Like that's very crazy. And without changing drastically. That's the other thing too. We've seen many of the smaller publishers who have been there for a while change drastically, like Heavy Metal quite a few others. And our press hasn't. It's been kind of again, an unsung bedrock of independent comics and manga, and I'm always happy to support band. I'm stoked to check this out. Of course, it doesn't just support band; it's also supporting the wonderful Common America team. So it's very, very cool. So yeah, Tomorrow Girl X Common America. Excited to read that one. And then talk about Common America. This is the last one. Last package, folks. From Iconic Comics. You always know what you're getting because of the box. Go ahead and open the box. I think this is volume 6 or 7. I don't know. I'm behind. I have to read all the Soul Finder stuff, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So this is actually just adding to my pile of need to read. But most of the stuff is actually. Okay, last one. Let's go for it. Yeah, I wanted to do my more classic mail day videos with these, but it just was not happening. So here we are. Something fun to do on a stream instead of me just probably wandering talking. And today is, I need focal points. So the classic thing that always happens when you open a package, which is neat. Oh, a big old thank you. Always appreciate that. I really like Common America. I know. Yes. There's a lot to it, right? So, you know what? We'll get into that after I finish this, because that is a topic worth discussing, because I've seen it all. I've seen it since before its birth. So I'm happy to discuss my opinions on it. I've, mostly stayed out of it, which has been great. And yes, Common America's good. Yeah, it's all available on iconiccomics.com. They've been very consistent about that. In fact, that's their superpower, is consistency. They are the most consistent release in terms of quality and in terms of release schedule. There's nobody who crowdfunds like Iconic Comics, and particularly the Common American team of Iconic Comics. So yes, this was Common America 6. This is Common America 6. And then, of course, the wonderful cosplay rear cover. They've actually got a growing fan base in Japan, too, which is neat. Makes sense to me that was always going to be possible, because if manga is of interest to Americans and Westerners, comics are of interest to the Japanese. I wouldn't see why that wouldn't be the case. Humans are curious of other cultures, and the American culture in particular kind of put its foot down pretty hard over that part of the world. That's why you see so many awesome, Western influenced, and I mean cowboy Western influenced stuff over there in their creative spheres. Just like you see a lot of Eastern stuff over here. Anywho, one of the better parts of globalization, honestly, is the ability for humans to grow and learn from each other. Anyway, Common America 6. I can't read it yet. I have to read Common America X Soul Finder X Black Ops. Black Ops is also very much worth reading. It's the other series from them. Good stuff. But yeah, since we're on that, came out great. Beautiful hardcovers at a crazy good price. They are the... If you want to compete with somebody as an independent comic guy and you want somebody to help you raise your level, they're an example. Yeah. So that's part of the root. Okay, we can get to that discussion. Why the fuck not? I've talked about it before, but I try to keep my head out of shit because it stinks. But part of the power of that independent comic movement known as CG, part of its initial power was its branding of frustration and of independent spirit, right? That's the big thing of it, right? Frustration for the fan base, right? Because it was originally, I'd like to say that, and I like to say that with them, originally a fan movement. It wasn't for creators. That did change very swiftly, but it was a fan movement. And I never was part of it. So it's funny at my Walmart. I'm a One Piece collector. I finally have all of it that's been printed now. That's a crazy endeavor I went under and a beautiful adventure. Nonetheless, so I had pre-ordered the next volume, and I went to my Walmart, which is a small Walmart. It's not a super Walmart. We actually this small hippie town was like, no, we're not taking that. We have our local grocery stores and stuff. We don't want that to force them out. So it took them forever to even be able to carry food. Anyway. I started My Hero Academia, I've seen there. Cody Can't Communicate, I've seen there, like, in the past couple months. And then One Piece. And the One Piece 101, that I was like, well, I pre-ordered months ago, it'll come to me. And, like, it still had a month till it was going to ship to me, and it was already at that Walmart. Crazy. So, crazy for me, too, because there's, like, no comic stores around here. There's nothing like that. So, to be able to get a manga I was waiting earlier than I was going to wait for at Walmart was kind of crazy for me. And of course, yes, Dogman was the big, or Plinky's, all of his works. You know, Captain Underpants, Dogman. I know he's got a couple other like spin-off kind of vibe stuff. That's a whole big fucking shelf, even at my tiny little Walmart. Next to Stephen King stuff and the all the other writers. You know, the classic like. These books will sell eventually kind of writers, romance novels, all that stuff. Then you have the big Dogman shelf, and then there's this small corner that's manga now. And they've been keeping it, which is awesome for me and crazy for me to see. But yeah, no Batman, no Superman, no like classic reprints of anything. I don't know what the greater comic industry is doing, and I guess I don't need to. It's just all of us have this resonance with these characters and these stories that mean a lot to us, and it's part of CG also. It's got this resonance to us, and sure, we're not owed any kind of input or anything like that, because that's just not how art creativity works. But at the same time, it sure would be nice if it was felt there was a certain level of respect to it. And that was part of the impetus, at least that I saw, with the start of CG. And then it spiraled into what a lot of politics and how politicians get traction, which is a cause. Now, there's two ways to handle a cause. There's silently working at it and pushing it forward and growing it, and then there's just yelling about it. And we saw a little bit of both, and it's kind of been a mix of both since the 2018. And again, talk about Antarctic Press. They were thrown under the bus so fucking hard by every side of the spectrum. It was very, very depressing. And their creators that had nothing to do with it. Like, it was just a fucking train wreck. You know, I've always tried to handle the whole situation as, like, create, you know, not only be the person you want to be out there, but also create the space that you want to be out there. And so I've been blessed that, you know, cool folks who on many things I probably would not resonate and agree with, they still can put those things aside and appreciate what I've done and help me continue to do that work. And that's happened for many different sides of this crazy-ass comic sphere. And from high-end professionals like the top colorist at Marvel to very well-known personalities in CG like Mr. Michael Bancroft, who has been a staunch supporter since he joined the scene. There's a lot of cool folks out there. There's just, within like 2 months of joining the discussion and the commentary around comics in that time, I was so burnt out of the same talking points. And it's been the same talking points for like 4 years. And I'm just like, make something better than it, please, and talk about that. Make that what people are talking about instead of this. Make the alternative the thing that's being talked about, not talking about the same old shit the same way. That's always the most frustrating part when I go campaigning too, is because I end up talking to folks who are still in that mindset of complaining sells. And in some cases it does, but for me it is just a major turnoff. And that's why I stay away from a lot of those movements. Like, yeah, it's you are frustrated. I get it, and I totally get reasons why. But at the same time, like, I'm anti-corporate, I'm anti-collectivist. Uh, I want to hear your story. I don't want to hear your thoughts on some other story that neither you or I are likely to have bought. I don't want to hear your story about a news article that may not have even read the thing that it's talking about, right? Like, it's oh. I don't even think they're the enemy. I think they're just other options that have sadly, taken icons that meant one thing and tried to change them into another. And that sucks, but at the end of the day, like, if there are actually people who are made happy by that weren't made happy by previous works, hate that. Buy this marketing is, yeah, exactly. Scott's 100% right. There's a lot of that. So if you hate this, buy this, and I don't want to do that either. That's my thing. Is like, I don't want hate buy. My work comes from a place of love and passion and exploration and most of all empathy. And that's the big one that I feel lacks in so many of these circles is this depersoning of the other. And literally the thesis of my work is we're all in this together. I put it into one character, but that's the thesis of this work. And so I can't, if I'm going to honor my work and I'm going to honor the spaces I'm trying to create, if I'm going to respect the readers who resonate with my work, then I can't, like, I'm not on a side. I'm on everybody's side in their own way. I'm not, again, if these mainstream character deviations are pleasing people, fine. That's my hope, but it's a lot harder. That's the thing. And right, and business and survival is of the fittest. It's of the cutthroat. It's of those willing to do the things that perhaps others aren't. So I totally empathize with that, and I don't think it's a wrong path. I don't think there's many wrong paths. I think there's many paths that make a less make a more toxic environment, and then there's others that make a less toxic environment. And most of the paths that make a toxic environment are tread by both sides of this thing. If you want to even divide them into sides, because there's such a spectrum. And it's it can be disheartening and it is super depressing, but my investment in any of this is always in what I'm doing. And of course of creators and such that I resonate with, and I really love the work that they're doing, and it's usually because of the work they're doing, not a lot of the time it's them as well. But none of them that I really have like invested and agreed with spend their time disagreeing and investing in disagreeing. I'm not going to say it's a waste of energy. For some people, it's a necessity. But it's a waste of time for me. That's the other bit of my work, is I am keenly aware of the limits of space-time. You can only go so far for so long. The story I want to tell is super, super arrogant in terms of the scope to truly fully explore it, right? Like, it's not gonna happen. But it's the attempt that I find beautiful and I find valiant. And if corporate said that person's creative voice is what they wanted on the brands that they own, then that's their right. And it's depressing, but that doesn't unmake the works that came before that really meant something to you. It doesn't. These are corporate IPs. These are soulless tools for money making. Like, if you think they're anything more than that at that level, then I'm sorry to break it to you. They can mean something else to you in your heart from stories that you read and the icons that they were to you growing up, or even now, right, of the graphic novels and things that really resonate with you. But at the end of the day, they are soulless corporate tools. Yes. Yes. Now, to be fair, I don't want to trash heavy metal too much. Like, there's a lot of things they do that I don't like. They leaned heavy into the crypto and NFT space. I really don't like that. But the artistic team of IronVerse Comics has been published in heavy metal. And I was so proud to see that because I originally wanted Jack to be published by heavy metal. No question. In fact, I have tried many times. I have pitched Jack many times to heavy metal. I don't hear anything back ever because I know what that creative force is like, right? It sucks. But you know, and how they are now it's a little depressing. But to me personally, maybe for others, it's like, oh, they're doing exactly what I want. I haven't seen anybody say that, but it could be. But the fact that they actually got published in heavy metal and that was redistributed around, I think it's issue number 306. They got a short in there. Which is beautiful to see. I'm so glad for them. I'm jealous in my own way because I would have loved to have been part of that creative team in there, but it's all right. You know, they still work with me and they're still willing to put out the good work that I'm trying to do, and I'm unbelievably grateful for this creative team. Again, it's one of many parts of this work that allow it to exist that would not exist otherwise. Brian Pulido, consistent. He just believes in the work, puts out very much like Todd McFarlane. Just spends their time doing the work, and I appreciate those creators almost more than anything. The fact that Pulido has survived on crowdfunding, doing his. I'm not a Bad Girl Comics guy. I'm not like. That's just not my bag. There are Bad Girl Comics I like, but usually it's for beyond the usual tropes of them. Now to say, I've read a couple issues of Vampirella. I haven't read any Lady Death. That genre, Dynamite, and I know Brian Pulido probably isn't Vampirella, but he is certainly Lady Death. And I think I've read Lady Death and Vampirella, a crossover from way back in the day. They're fine. They're cheesecake, right? Like, it's not... Again, it's not my bag. That's why, like, one of my turnoffs for Common America is that, honestly. Is that they try to put this wholesome thing in, and then they throw just enough layer of cheesecake to sell. They don't do it disrespectfully or anything, but that's, like, if I have a sticking point with how Common America is sold, that's it. That's my sticking point with it. And I don't think it would be doing as well if they didn't do that. For myself, right, I had to make that compromise also with these Jackie Iron pinups and the Illustrator Monk work to help, you know, it's another piece of work somebody who's into those kind of pinup girl kind of stuff can purchase and help support our work. Me personally, I wouldn't purchase that. I wouldn't support that work, but it's what works, and they're beautiful pieces of art. But it's just not for me. And I know Pulido, like, that's, like, been his bag, and I'm glad it works. I hope the stories are enthralling as well and are told well. I have no idea. Exactly. And he's been consistent about it the whole freaking time. Like, good on him for doing it for like 35 years. Like, fucking A. I couldn't imagine if I can do anything for 35 years in the creative space, that would be incredible. I've been here 17, I guess, next year. Trying to get it done. I've been actually in the indie space, 5 next year, I think. No spoilers there, Scott. No spoilers. That's one of your best weapons. But yes, that would be dope. just the mask, right? It's just I don't know, man. Like, I have my own taste, and I've always tried to be. I'm an only child. I spend most of my time alone and with animals. That's why I work with dogs and why I work with animals, period. It's one of the few things I understand. I understand their type of communication. Person-to-person communication, only way I know how to approach it is through honesty and earnestness, and that's how folks tend to resonate and call me a good guy. Now, if they knew me further, maybe I'm not that best of a guy. I certainly judge myself very harshly, but in this space for what I want it to be. I think it is something that would provide a breath of fresh air for the entirety of indie if more folks would get on board in terms of just promoting that kind of space through their own work. But I think that space is far more niche. I think people like they like disagreements in this. People like conflict. I don't. I'm terrible at it. But people do love conflict. They like winners and losers. They like bad guys and good guys. It's the space we work in, right? For me, the bad guys and good guys are more esoteric, more ideological, more spiritual. It's the best way I could put it. It's far less person to person and far more idea to idea. And a lot of folks, they're like, well, they have this idea, therefore they are this idea. And a person is so much more than any ideas they hold. They are hours and hours of lived life. They are traumas. They are beautiful gifts. They are all these amazing things. And so I try to approach every person with that in mind. Yep. I'll get to that. I will. So, people do totally forget the indies. Absolutely, it is a tough space to get the word out, period. So any tool that's available, I, again, emphasize with. That's why there's all these harsher tools that I don't really love that I cannot fault people for using. European comics, fucking love them. 2008, again, heavy metal, 2000 AD. Fucking, I'm missing one. Black Library in particular. I'm a huge Warhammer 40k guy, and the Black Library comics from back in the 80s and 90s. I have a stack of the graphic novels back behind me. Huge fan. Huge fucking fan of the grime and the grit and the attitude that European comics have put out forever. And that's just British. In terms of French comics, I've read a little bit of Jean Girard, Mobius's work. I've read Black Sad, which is incredible detective noir with a furry skin, if you're into that thing, which I don't care about that. But if you use the idea of animal tropes properly in a work, anthropomorphic tropes, it can really add to it because animals are iconic to almost every culture and they have very similar beliefs on those animals. So you can communicate extra layers simply visually if you use those. So that's really cool. Black Sad did that very well. I feel like I've read a few other things, just not popping in my mind. The fact, basically all of Vertigo, early Vertigo, was British comics just published by Americans, right? That was the whole point Karen Berger was going for. And so I love fucking heavy metal. Or not heavy metal, Vertigo stuff. Original Vertigo stuff. Neil Gaiman, Grant Morrison, particularly Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis is the writer that got me to want to make comics, period. Those individuals, that style, that grit, that attitude, that we're going to make what we want to make and we're getting paid for it attitude, love it. I love that stuff. I'm a huge fan of basically any kind of spectrum. I haven't read much manhwa. I believe I've read something, but since I don't remember it, you can call me a liar on that. Gypsy, which was published by Heavy Metal, I think is Eastern European in origin, or Italian. Enrico Marini, I think it's Italian. Okay, whatever works. Whatever works. Such beautiful artwork. You're very right on that too when you look at it. You can tell each line has a bunch of care, and you can tell that each line has a bunch of care, and then the colors also like have beautiful care. Now I don't know if he's also the colorist, but if he is, it definitely communicates really nicely. Beautiful noir setting, but just this Black Sad's so good, so good. But Vertigo, Bill Willingham as well, like with Fables. Like there's so many good comics of European origin. American comics are a little harder for me, like writer-wise. I really like, oh gosh, my brain's blanking. I think the caffeine's actually run out. I'm still drinking it, but I think the energy ran out. Yeah, it's gonna bother me. Like, I can't pick a single American author right now out of my head. There's a bunch I really like. They're all behind me. Mike Mignola's stuff is always fun. I still haven't finished Hellboy, though. And technically finished, right? The Dark Horse is running that one as long as they can. Dark Horse is another publisher I've tried to get on board with. But you get so much nepotism in any publisher. Indie publishers in particular, because indie publishers are seen as the pathway to the mainstream, so it's like the vetting level before being accepted up there, and so it's actually a lot more nepotistic, but know somebody who knows somebody who got you in. Like, that's how comics works, and I really wish it wasn't that. Again, I wish it was on merit, which they can't. Corporations don't like, because merit is unproven, right? Like, it could be an amazing work, but if it's your first work or it's the first time you're going in, it doesn't, like, no. You could have no work, but as long as somebody will vouch for you so you can blame them when it doesn't work, then that's fine, right? It's just a weird perspective. But again, it's the financial gears and mechanisms. And that's the part I am terrible at. I'm all heart and soul, very little brain. But I try. I try to have just enough brain to keep things going. Just enough to keep the blood pumping in that heart so that the soul can continue to affect the material reality, right? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. I've read so much more manga because of the consistency in the storytelling. They put all their faith into one person, and they have them, prove it. And then they put their faith into that, and they'll run it as long as it works, which is incredible. It's something we no longer do. We did do that. Like, I know Chris Claremont on X-Men was a very long and celebrated run. There's a lot of there was a history of that. Big fan of Jeff Smith and Bone, and Tukey was alright. I wanted more from Tukey. It really ended abruptly. And that was his most recent crowdfunding effort, which I was glad he was successful in it. He should have been more successful being Jeff Smith. That really bothered me. I don't know, man. It's such a complicated space that, again, I try to have as much empathy as possible because I cannot at any single moment accurately observe the entire space. I haven't seen any of those. I haven't heard of any of those, which is excellent. Again, that's my part. Like, at any moment, I cannot observe the entire space, and a lot of people have their opinions as if they can, and that's another stickling point for me. There's a level of arrogance to conflict that bugs me. Yeah, check those out. I'm gonna have to check those out. Undertaker, interesting. Sykes, Long John, Obscure Cities. Like, there's so... My favorite part, I've talked about this, of comics in general is the creative freedom that the medium allows while still having all these very consistent tropes of, say, filmmaking or novel writing, of that type of storytelling. Playwriting, whatever, of that kind of storytelling, but the creative freedom that allows because the artist's hand allows that kind of manifestation. It has no worries on settings if they're willing to put the work in terms of financial limitations, right? Movies, plays, animation, right? They all have limits to that because the amount of investment needed to pull off any of that. Not only time, but financial investment. Whereas comics, it's primarily an issue of time and skill, which is fucking amazing and super liberating. Yes. Very cool. I'm glad Elric's back out there. I have a couple issues of Elric. Fantasy comics are dope. We have I think fantasy in general needs more representation in comics. I think it is undersold. I think science fiction, since Star Wars kind of did science fiction fantasy, I think science fiction has kind of overtaken fantasy in terms of presence, and I think fantasy has a certain vibe, certain charm, a certain set of tropes that are more needed these days than almost ever. That's why I think Tolkien's work is as relevant and still being discussed so much. So I think Game of Thrones got so like popular, even though a lot of the tropes are super, 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 super dark and not to my taste. I think the old style folklore kind of approach to stuff is fucking magical. My favorite example of that is the Warhammer 40k lore. I've read, God, 20, 30 novels from 40k's Black Library, and I've been reading the Disney / Marvel 40k books, and they've been alright. I've been impressed with that. Okay. I do know Jodorowsky. I think they recently sold his original like Dune storyboard book thing, his concept work when he was going to do the Dune movie. I don't know how recently that was. That could have been the last 2 years. But yeah, I know Jodorowsky. Crazy bastard. crazy, crazy bastard. So that's got to be some fun stuff. That's got to be fun. Comics is a beautiful and wonderful medium, and I wish more folks approached it as that all the time. I wish that was more of a front-facing vibe to the public and to everyone. Comics has this terrible lack of self-esteem. It is basically the horror of mediums, and I really hate saying that. Okay. There we go. That makes sense. Because I know he was so heartbroken when he couldn't make that, so it makes sense that he went and did something, right? Oh, God. Valerian. Oh, God. I've read most of the Valerian stuff, too. Those comics are great. Those comics are so fun. It's like, I prefer it to Star Wars. And it's very much, Star Wars took a lot from Valerian, and the God, I can't remember the subtitles. There's, I think, 6 graphic novels or so. Man, Valerian's a fun journey. It's been years, though, since I've read that. Yeah, it's tough. And I guess I should expand on the horror mediums. So it's wants to be all these other super financially successful mediums. And even when it had basically become that, it is still treated like dirt, right? Like, even back in the 2000s when Marvel and the studios were more tepid, they were at least trying to promote the movies and the comics together. They stopped that. They're embarrassed of comics. Oh, Marini's so good. I've actually been in talks with him to do something at some point, so I know his page rate and his cover rate. I always retweet his stuff, so if you are on Twitter and you haven't found Marini's account, just watch mine. Eventually, I have him on Bell. He mainly does pin-up and sexy stuff lately, but he did I think the recent work is called Noir Burlesque. Again, very beautiful. I love his work very much. He and Goran Parlov is the other artist I really want to work with on something at some point. Goran Parlov's work on the Punisher Max is some of my favorite, like, out of that whole run, and there are some amazing artists in Punisher Max, but something about Goran's light but super, his personality he puts onto the page, it's just so good. Marini, though, is the other one. I love Gypsy so much. And then the other European feeling comic that isn't is Gru the Wanderer. Sergio Aragonés has been doing comics forever, and he is underappreciated so much. Him, Stan Sakai, there's many of those creators in that older Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle circle that deserve so much more love. Yes, Goran Parlov. He's a I know his work mainly from Punisher Max, but he's done other stuff. Most of his work from Marvel, I believe, was on the Punisher. I'm a huge Punisher fan. Well, yeah, people don't like to read anymore. They might love to read. They just aren't shown that that's like a cool thing. And that's been a long time since that, right? Start with novels and books, right? Like, unless you spend a lot of time reading as a kid, you are unlikely to read as an adult, particularly these days where everything Like, you are thrown such a, I love this word, cacophony of just noise to tune into at any time. That, you know, I get it. Like, this culture has shifted away from this type of medium, and I don't think there is a going back. I wish there was. My goal and my hope is that it at least finds a solid niche footing that can survive for a few more decades. Video games in particular are going to overtake every kind of medium, and there are different expressions of video games, right? There's experiences, there's simulations, and then there's games, right? All of those things are similar but different expressions of that medium, and I think they have an infinite room for growth, but they're another one that has the financial shackles and choke chain on them once you get to a certain level. Game development also has this certain liberation to it at a small level where one person can make a really fun and really good game. But it's to actually survive and live off of it, it's a 1 in a million shot. Just like comics, they share that. Film is a different story. You get in the right circles and you make something that's okay. It makes its money back. You're probably making movies for a while. I don't know that either. Jeez. Please do, folks. Like, look up these names. There are so many incredible talents in comics that you haven't heard of. Like, I don't think I've heard of any of those. I may have heard of some of their works, but I haven't heard of any of those names. That is super depressing to me. Because I'm relatively well read. I'm not. I think there are many other comic sequential artist fans who have read so much more than me. I'm not that old, but I'm getting there. Yeah. I love this medium dearly, and that's the only thing I really want to convey with any of my communications to other comic fans. This medium means the world to me. It's basically saved my life multiple times. There's only a few things that I can say that have done that. And comics is one of them. So I've done my best to produce something that can stand up to most others, and I think we've done really well, considering the level of compromise I would have and would need to continue to do in order to reach a level of success that's sustainable. However, is off-putting, to put the to the least. And I've seen many people make those compromises, and I don't like, again, I don't begrudge them for doing it. That it is. That it is. It is very relative. So that's the thing. I don't know. I would say a lot of people probably read more than me, but I've read a lot. Not many people have read all One Piece. Not many people have read all of Shaman King basically now, all of Berserk, all of... in fact, I haven't met a single other person who's read all of Alita Battle Angel, which it bothers me because I have so much to talk about on that series. I fucking love Alita Battle Angel. Even my dog that you saw earlier, that's Alita. It's I'm a big manga reader. Like, in terms of like glut of content, it's manga I've read the most of. Then Western comics, particularly Punisher, I would say, is the next. And then I've read a lot of Hellblazer. I've read a lot of... I mean, it's all behind me. I always forget things. I've read some of the classic Batman stuff. Long Halloween is still one of my favorite detective stories I've ever come across. Just love the whole vibe of Long Halloween. Dark Victory's alright, but Long Halloween is good. Ghost Rider. I've read a lot of Ghost Rider. He was the character that got me into comics. Yeah, I don't know, folks. I love this medium. I want to continue working in it. We're working hard to do it. And I guess that goes to the updates, which last week I had the same thing where I'm doing it here, but I want to do a more comprehensive, respectful video, separate video. When, you know, I dress up and I take the time to communicate things a little bit better. I actually take notes and I try and be far more respectful than one of these off-the-cuff streams. But yeah, we are 100% having to delay Jack Irons 4's release. We should have been hopefully delivering in January. Colors fell behind. My lettering script fell far behind. We are almost done with colors. I think we have 5 more pages and the cover, and then we are done with colors. And I can knock out the new... I did do a lettering script. It was just terrible. Well, I'm not going to say terrible. It was just one of the tropes I used to get through it is terrible. In itself, it's not terrible, but that particular trope needs to be burned and replaced. And I kind of figured out what I want to do with it. I just need to sit down and do it. And my new gig is taking so much out of me. It is so emotionally, like, draining. I knew it was going to be, and I'm doing better than I thought I was going to do in it, and I totally need the money. Being out of work for those 2 months was not good. My other gigs have remanifested, which is crazy, and crazy good. But, yeah. I'm hoping... I don't see why we couldn't deliver the digitals next month. Howdy, howdy. Everybody's doing the howdies today. I'm so glad people remembered. We say howdy around here. Yes, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for stopping by, Mr. Smelling. So, yeah, that's the fun one. I wanted to take time, explain it, and go further in depth on everything that's occurred and what my plans are to make sure that things arrive very early next year, because we have quite a few things planned for next year. I think I am taking a break after issue number 4 of Jack. I didn't want to. I would love to continue it, like to continue to do 1 issue a year. I would love to do more than that, but that just has not. It has not occurred, and the timing for the artistic team is just not happening. Honestly, I need a breather. So I'm working hard to get that done early next year. I don't see why we shouldn't have hopefully finished fulfillment by March. Hi, Nami. Hi, baby girl. So I don't know, folks. So that's just, again, being here talking about that. I'm going to do a separate video release that I will then link to every backer so that they know. I just didn't want to do it at Christmas. I'm going to do it at New Year's when I also close the in-demand on the campaign. We were so close to 15K that I was like, well, I'll keep it open longer. I'll keep it open longer. And then it's not happening. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pull the plug on that. And then focus 110% on fulfillment. Honestly, on finishing production, because we're right there. We're like 90% done with the comic itself, and then printing. So that's the thing. There's a couple other stickling points that I need to discuss with backers, but I will do that in that video. I want to hit everything and just let people know exactly where everything's at, where I'm at in particular. That one's been... a large part of why I've been so much slower is this new job. It is just... There's a ton of fulfillment in it. I know I'm doing good, all these things. But it is the heaviest gig I've ever had to do. Like, it is so much weight to carry. I knew it was going to be a lot, and I also didn't think I could do it. But I'm doing it. It's just... I'm still building up the proper support beams to be able to continue to do this. And I could look for another gig, 100% possible. But I don't want to be in that position right now. So I'm having to adapt to carry this gig. So things have suffered. A lot of things have suffered. So I'm hoping that I can find a better balance, particularly after this holiday season. The holiday season is also super heavy for me, so I'm getting double teamed there. No, like, I don't work that much there either is the other thing, right? Like, it's not the actual... It's not the tasks in which I'm asked to perform there. It's the environment in which I'm performing them and the truth of that environment. that is very difficult to carry. It's a necessary thing. But being the kind of person I am, it's very tough to carry. It's very tough to carry. For folks who don't know, adios. Thank you for stopping in, adding to the conversation. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the wonderful suggestions that I hope myself and chat follow through on checking, because those are all names that probably and most likely deserve far more recognition. So thank you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all the good stuff. So that's the bit. I don't want to focus too much on that, I guess. I'll focus a little bit on it because it is 100% a factor in the delays here. But we'll go from there. Again, that should be, I think I'll be doing that New Year's. I'll put that in. And yeah, I don't think there will be any Jack Irons content in 2023, like in terms of new issues and stuff. I'm going to focus on what we have, and we will continue to do the animations as long as our wonderful Mrs. H wants to continue to do that. I will continue to do my best to stream and platform folks, but I need a breather. I need less weight so I can adapt. There are too many angles here for me that are just like bogging me the fuck down. And I need to figure out like what my next move in life is. I've been in a transitionary period for a couple years now, and it has not been an easy one. But I have a couple months where like the vibe around me is going to be rough, so I'm trying not to do anything like, trying not to make any big bold decisions in that period. So we'll see. There's always a chance that I actually will want to produce issue 5 next year, but I don't know. Issue 5 and 6 will finish what I want to do with Jack, at least at first, so I would love to get through that as soon as possible. But, I don't know, I need to figure it out. I'm just glad people have stuck with me as long as they have on this crazy ride that honestly should not exist. In terms of, like, practicality, in terms of quality, in terms of the space, in terms of financially, there's so many reasons Jack Irons should not exist. But it does because of amazing folks like yourself. It's crazy to me. But yeah, there's just so much weight in the comic production work. Like, there's a bunch of things adding to the weight I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to figure out which ones I can cut. At least for a time. Dealing with this house, dealing with grieving, dealing with these animals, dealing with the animals at work, dealing with work itself, paying the bills. I have the one breather I've been able to do, and you folks caught a little bit of it because I was able to stream it a couple of times, was painting. I've gotten back into painting, miniature painting, and that's been great. That's been super liberating for the soul. And the buddy who I also play 40K with has been able to come by and play a couple games of 40K recently, which has been wonderful. It's such a fun game. It's a very long game, but it's in terms of it is a form of sequential art as well, which is really cool. Once you're in it, the kind of like, I don't know, RimWorld is a storytelling generator, right? 40K is a storytelling generator, and I really love that kind of game. And painting is like the one form of meditation that I can actually like lose myself to. Music is the other one, but music's a little bit harder. I've gotten back into playing as well, which has been nice. Thanks to good old Primus and Les Claypool, I've been figuring out slap bass again, it's just too much fun. It's just too much fun. So I've been trying to get those kind of breathers where it's just like artistic self-fulfillment kind of stuff, which my comics, since it's a collaborative medium, it's a lot heavier of a weight to carry, and so it's a lot more difficult for me to do that in addition to everything else. So I've been doing okay. I've been surviving. Everything's like okay, but it's bumpy, bumpy rough road, right? But it's been good. And I haven't missed a week of this for months, I think. So that's been good. I appreciate you folks. I put a lot of effort into setting up these streams. And I know they're not like super popular or anything. Like that's not. There are ways in which I can approach this medium of performance a lot better that I'm just not able to do. But that I choose not to do is more accurate, because I think I'd be able to do those things again if there were different weights placed upon my shoulders. That I chose to place upon my shoulders. Again, these are all things at any point I could just say fuck it. But I feel a lot of them are super important, so I don't. I just continue carrying it. I just wish it was smoother and felt less like dragging it. But yeah, really appreciate you folks. I don't know if I have much else to chat about. We had some wonderful topics placed in chat from the ever wonderful, I can't pronounce it. But the, Daniel there, if you look in chat, he wonderful generator of things to talk about today, and I really appreciate it. I really hope folks have a wonderful Christmas. I doubt I will be here tomorrow. I might be. I don't have any plans this year. So the only thing I'm doing is work, and I'm going to take the full day there tomorrow if I can. Just so I'm doing something and not focusing on what the day is, the aspects of that are less than pleasant. And we'll go from there. The other thing I was doing for a while to escape was gaming. I got back into gaming. I have played so much 40k Dark Tide. Too much, probably. But I was waiting for that game for years, and it was as good, if not better, than I wanted it to be. So that was a nice little boon. I need those little boons. So the fact that it didn't suck is amazing to me. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Painting, playing music, working, a lot of work. I do 4 jobs, if people didn't know. That does count this one, though. That does count this one. I appreciate it if you'd like to. I know I'm not the... This content isn't super enthralling and engaging and entertaining and all that, but if you want to, I appreciate it, brother. I it's part of the reason I do these is just so that the information's there if people want it. But we started with opening packages. There was a mail day that I've been meaning to do for feels like years, but it's been months. So we opened up Common America 6. Check out Common America 6. We opened up Tomorrow Girl, Common America crossover, very cool, from Ben Dunn, the head publisher, creator of Antarctic Press, a very unsung independent comic publisher. We opened up Captain Orange from the ever incredible Mrs. H. We opened up Illustrator Monk's sketch cards for the campaign. Those are now in my possession to go out to backers when they're ready. Then we opened up Screecher from Phoenix Press. So that's what we opened up today. Very cool. Those are all things I've been meaning to open forever. I wanted to do a actual mail day video like I tended to do for a long time, and I just did not get to it. So I decided, again, lighten the load by doing things, right? Like, one of my problems is I get overwhelmed and then nothing gets done. And so it just piles up and gets more overwhelming. So this was one of the ways to do that. Like, I don't have to do these mail day videos. I don't have to do these streams. I don't... there's a lot of things that, like, I feel I have to do to respect and honor everything, but I don't have to. So, find a compromise. Oh, all the stuff looks great. I'm super excited to dive into the stuff I haven't read, which is, I think, all of that. I just need to catch up on Black Ops X, Soul Finder X, Common America, or whichever order those 3 are in. And to do that, I need to catch up on Soul Finder, and I got halfway through the first Demon's Match. I think it's the first book with Tim Lim. Oh, howdy, Josh. Merry Christmas to you as well, brother. Thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we did a package opening thing. And then talked about the environment and where I'm at. Talked a little bit where Jack 4 is at. I'm going to do a more comprehensive Jack 4 video update for folks here by the end of the year. So folks know what's up, because that's the end of the year is the deadline that we are going to miss, which sucks. Oh, it's not. I said January, right? So I still technically have till the end of that month. But I think the best we're going to be able to do is deliver the digital by that time, which is depressing. But sadly, nothing new for our work, which is also depressing. But it's going to get delivered. I'm not going to fail on that front ever, at least. So yeah, welcome. I mean, we opened some books and we chatted. That's all that's kind of going on. Here. Oh, I'm so behind. I'm so behind on reading. Like, I am incredibly behind on reading. Like, the books that I talked about today are just going on top of the reading pile. I'm just so behind. I will show folks where we're at. Like, legitimately what I have. Not going to go too close because I don't want to do too, like, spoilers, but let's do that. Yep. I don't think we'll be, like, crazy late, which is nice. We're not going to be Death Sworn late, right? But we will be late. So I want to make a video talking about those things and make sure that backers understand and know. And then if they do, want to go from there, go from there. You sure it's not Mabbage? No, I am unzipping a folder that has where we're at. So just a second, folks, and then I will totally show you where we're at. But basically, what's stalling it is one, my lettering script, which to get it done the first time was super intimidating, and the trick I used to get it done in my brain is not a good trope to have in a book. Let's just say that. I can keep part of it because part of it's like almost essential. But the rest of it is just like, this is the vibe I want to communicate, but it's somebody else's words, and you should do that. So I need to handle that better. No worries. 24. So yes, actually, we have less than 10 pages, and the cover to finish the actual story content of issue number 4 to be colored, and then to letter it, which the lettering can be done very, very quickly once I have that script done.
Said. Delegating is important.
Get out of here. There we go. So this is where we're at. That's what the colors look like. I'm not going to zoom in. You can zoom in if you really want to spoil yourself, but up to page 24 on the colors. 8 pages in the cover. Then the lettering needs to be done. I do have a lettering script, but again, there's a particular trope I need to excise from it, and doing so changes a good chunk of the structure of which I did that. And then I need to go back to my original script, the script that the art was done off of, and see what's salvageable from that more so. Usually the lettering script's super easy for me. This time it's been super rough. And there's probably a lot of reasons for it. But anyway, that will be done. It should be out by the beginning of next year digitally. So the digital backers should be fulfilled hopefully on time. But the physical backers, it's going to be a month or two late, which is super unfortunate. It's probably a month or two. It's probably 2 because of printing. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm very hopeful, and been blessed to be able to pull all of this together by the skin of my teeth 2 times prior. So this would be the 3rd time I pull it together by the skin of my teeth. Particularly issue 3 was the first time where it's like the last day we even get to do it. It kind of was the same thing this campaign. So it's a rough ride to get Jack out there, but it gets out there, and that is an amazing gift to me and just just such a cool little magic trick that myself and the team can pull off with your wonderful help. But yeah, this is where we're at. It's a gorgeous book. The first 6 pages are visible on the campaign page if you want to look. Or is it the first 5? I think it's the first 5 pages are visible in their full glory on the campaign page now.
Amazing and matter said. Unfortunately.
So right now we are still, to the end of the year, we're still going to be in demand. I'm closing the campaign at the same time I make the delay announcement. Almost hit 50K, was really cool. So that's possible. Then after that, like, there are so many angles that you're probably aware of some of the things that could get in the way of that, Josh. But I'm hopeful. Like, it should be out publicly as well next year. Like, there should be a way to get it publicly next year. Like, there should be. But issue 3 should have been as well. I mean, it's been available digitally, publicly for a long time, but physically it should be, like, anyway, so that's another angle that maybe I want to approach next year instead of producing number 5. Yeah, so, that's a thing. But, that's probably an angle I'm going to have to approach next year, which I really like. Again, the folks who have been anywhere close to my work are relatively aware it's something that I've been trying to tread respectfully, and I think I've done that. But at the same time, it has been a massive compromise on many angles of this work. So I've got that needs to be figured out. Let's just say that needs to 100% be figured out. Yeah. So hopefully, yes. Otherwise, you've got till about the 1st if you want to back it on the campaign, Josh. Otherwise, like, no worries. You've been so supportive of the work the whole time. Like, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll have leftovers from the print run. So we'll figure that out. Yeah, we're getting there. I want to improve with each one. I think I put a ton of weight on me to make sure. Well, this is the best artwork that the team has ever provided, so I want to make sure I'm producing the best writing I can for this one. I don't want to do another issue 2 where it's kind of muddy in terms of like what the issue's trying to convey. Issue 3 I think was smoother, but it also had its muddier, rough edges. I want to, with the structure of this when I originally wrote it, I tried very hard to pivot it towards a more classic structure while carrying the important tropes and ideas from the previous issues forward. And I think I've done that. It's just how to approach them. Like the plot structure does that 100%, exactly what I wanted to do. It's just the nuances of the dialogue and the narration that I need to make sure I have correct, and it's been intimidating. And again, the compensating trope I used was something you don't do. And the wonderful dollar coins, my editor like knocked me on my ass for it. He should have. Because it's fine. You know what? Fine. Here. Is that even in here? Did I download it? Yes, I did. Here. Why not? Spoilers, by the way, if folks are super. I'm not going to show the whole thing. This is the whole issue, though. All the line art.
Josh, amazing and matter.
Get my face out of there.
Done backed.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. That makes us that much closer to 15K. Much appreciated. Thank you. So, we'll show the first page, because this one I think isn't going to be altered much. So I do a lettering script. This is my lettering script. I originally started, folks may know, I lettered my own work. I lettered to Maxie's artwork at the beginning. That's just kind of how the comic started. Eventually I published that, and then a letterer found us and was like, this is not good lettering. Can I letter it? And I was like, oh, sure, please. You're a letterer. You know what you're doing. And then the one you can read on tapastic.com is his lettering. Then after that, we've been working with the wonderful Vince Rush for our letters, and he's been incredible. But the trope that I used very consistently is that.
Josh the Amazing Animator said, "You're already 20k in Canada coins."
But it's not real money. No, I'm kidding. That's cool. That's very cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's true. And foreign currencies are probably up pretty good in some places. And down in some places as well, right? The dollar ain't doing that well either. But very cool. Very, very, very cool. That's the other thing is inflation's like when you're going like 7% nearly a month in terms of the value of your currency, it's rough. But that's the one. And so that is totally how I'm going to open the book. That's no spoiler there. But I use that trope in more than the places I should. And so I need to, and what I did and why is because I hated my narration from the script. Like there's parts of it that are so arrogant and just not how I want to present that information. That's like, I bet other people have said it better. And so I went through and I found those quotes that say it better. And so I just fucking excised it and put those in. And it's not how you do these things. I still think it's neat. Every time I've read it, like I'm like, it's kind of neat. That works. But at the same time, it's just not how this information should be presented. And it's not how a writer should like produce a work that they are selling. Right? Unless you're producing a book of quotes. So I need to convey the same information, but replace it with my words in a way that actually works compared to how I did it in the original script. So it's that conflict that I've been struggling with. And honestly, how I did it the first time is just I sat my ass down, threw on a couple concerts, and that was my day. So that's what I need to do again, and it's 100% doable. I just need to do it and feel like doing it, and that's the roughest part lately. But yeah, so it's done. There is a lettering script. Like I could just do it, but I think it would be super nearly disrespectful to not only my artists but to the folks who produce the work. So I need to do better. And that's for so many things, but this in particular is what we're talking about. I need to do better on it. So, that will happen. It's just timing. Timing's a big thing with the work here for me, which sucks because you can't really deadline around time periods you do not know. And a lot of Jack's work is that, right? Though, to be fair, the deadlines are what made the last two campaigns happen, right? Because it was the last day that the energy was there to focus and allow the thing to happen. So it's an angle to consider as well. So howdy. Didn't recognize that name, but stuff. For a lot of folks, happy holidays, that's up. Talking comics, talking the production of Jack Irons issue number 4. Having some coffee. That's what's up. What's up with you? That's what's going on, Josh. That's where we're at. Digital should be out next month. I don't see why not. In fact, I think that once I produce the delay video, the next important step is for me to finish the lettering script, and we should be done with colors by then as well, from what I was told by Steve Cannon, our wonderful colorist. He's working on 4 books right now. I think 2 of them are monthlies, so he accepted a bit more work than maybe he should have. At the same time, our work has a floating kind of deadline set up, and always has, so that's what allows him to do it. And his colors are a massive part of the charm and the vibe and the communication that our art conveys. So I am 100% willing to flex on that, as long as the backers aren't deservedly got their boots on my throat, right? So we'll see. And I don't see that happening because we have some amazing backers, and I hate having to take advantage of that patience. But if it's the only way the work can get done, then I'm gonna do what I need to do. But yeah, that's what's up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, ideas, topics you want to discuss, I'm here for at least another 20, 25 minutes. So I'm happy to talk about them. I am a indie comic guy. Most folks in indie comics do all the roles, so I don't really want to like give myself a bunch of titles. But I do. I have worked in nearly every aspect of independent comics. So if you have a question there, I'm glad to discuss. If you have a series you want to talk about, I've done that too. I've read many. Doesn't mean I've read them all. Yeah, I'm open book. Want to talk about anything? I'm here. But anyway, welcome. Thanks for saying hi and chat. I appreciate that greatly. My coffee is ice. That's always fun. Cold coffee's not so bad. Do I have that? That would be swell. Earlier in the stream, we opened up some independent comic packages, actually, which was very fun. So if you're curious about that, too, you can rewind to the beginning of the stream. I think about 5 minutes in, it starts. So a test shouldn't be very expensive at all. So it depends, right? Like Vince doesn't consider himself a professional letterer. He's an artist. He does inking and lines. Like that's where he's most comfortable. But he does competent to good lettering, right? That's the other angle that he is good at. So somebody who calls themselves a letterer and that's like their job probably will run you more than someone like Vince or somebody else who's like that's one of the aspects they do. So that's something to consider. But I think for a test page, it shouldn't run you more than $10 to $25 a page. Depends on like the kind of person you're approaching. That's Vince's rate is in there. I'm just going to say, because I don't like saying page rates directly, simply because if they do get another gig, I want them to have as much discussion power, negotiating power in that as possible. And somebody going in with like, well, I heard you do this for this, not only sets that relationship up on a bad foot, but it literally limits their options in that discussion. And so I don't think it's a good thing to do. But around there should be fine. I'm guessing professional, quote unquote professional, like that's what they do, will run you more than that. But somebody who can do it competently to good, but also does other aspects of comics, again, I think that's probably, as an independent comics creator, that's probably your better bet. Unless you can do it yourself, right? But it really depends on what your goals are, what you think's best for your project. If you think that would help Science Wizard Comics, then 100% find somebody whose maybe work you like that does everything themselves, or who you think would be willing to do a side gig like that. Because lettering isn't, if you know how, like it's not bad. Like me, I can letter something, but it's bad lettering. I will show you this. I'll show you this bad lettering. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Like, you don't want lettering like this. You don't want lettering like this. This is bad lettering. Don't do this. You could probably get somebody to do for free. like don't do that. But I think there's a good mid ground there somewhere. I think there's a good mid ground. But that should be around what you're thinking. Again, if they use the term professional, expect higher than what I just said. If they don't use that, but they can letter, then there's probably more negotiation room there, particularly on the scale of the projects. And like, artists always need side gigs, right? Like they almost always, unless they are locked into a professional gig that's consistent, then almost any artist kind of has trouble being themselves and surviving. And so there's negotiation room to get work out there. It's a kind of a shitty way to discuss it, but it's very true. And I found that like for my writing gigs, especially when I was looking for something more consistent when I was out of work, if you quote too high, you quote yourself out of work. Yeah. that certainly happened to me with my first lettering. I thought it was fine. And then like that guy's like, no, this isn't good. And then he pointed out why it wasn't good. And it's like, oh yeah, it's not good, is it? So yeah, it's very possible. But I think your artistic eye, since you are an artist, that's what you do. I think it's certainly better than mine. For that, so I couldn't say otherwise. But there, again, if there's an independent project whose lettering you like, who may be less of a large, consistent professional, right? There's probably some wiggle room there. I don't know. Like, I couldn't say for sure, but there's probably. There are a few letterers who do, like, all the lettering for certain spectrums of indie comics. For instance, Eric Weathers does so many CG projects. There's a guy named Micah Myers who I am blocked from and have been blocked for a long time, but he has been on many, many other independent comics on the other side of the spectrum. There are a few folks who, like, that's what they do, and I would assume they are at a higher rate than, again, folks who do their own webcomic or whatever, who you like their lettering. Maybe their webcomic doesn't make that much, so you can work something out where they're making a little extra money and you're getting your work done, right? Like, that's how any business relationship should work out, is that it's mutually beneficial and symbiotic. Who did I reblock? Oh, I'm blocked? Yeah, I'm blocked from a bunch of folks that you wouldn't expect me to be blocked from. Again, I'm problematic because I have no angle of attack. No worries, take care of your kiddo. Take care of your kiddo. It's a good Christmas for him, I hope. I hope you're having a good one. You do what you need to do, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah. But yeah, folks, art's a trip. Art is a trip. It's a blessing, it's a curse, it's a boon to the world, and it's a hell of a struggle and experience, a journey to put yourself upon. Brave and foolhardy. Let's just say that. Super foolhardy. Do I have anything else to share with you folks? I don't think anything new, per se. If folks are interested, you can see what I've been painting lately. I can go grab that. But, like I'm not a paint. I paint miniatures. That's not much of a paint. I've considered picking up a canvas and seeing what I can do, because I've done one canvas-based painting before, and I like it. But it's probably would be described as outsider art. Like, it's fucking finger paints, right? Like, it's not finger paints, but, like, it would have that kind of esteem to it when you're looking at it, right? Yeah. I'm far more proud of the miniature work I've done, but I do it because it helps enrich my soul, and it gives that breather that I need here and there. Howdy, Mr. Ernst. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Merry Christmas to you as well. I hope yours goes well and is filled with love and joy and all those good things that this season should and does for many represent. Thank you. Thank you for always stopping in and saying howdy. I really appreciate it. Behind on so many things for good people. It bothers me. I'm still behind on reading your work. I'm behind on reading another individual, basically my oldest and bestest friend, his work. It's only about 23 pages. Like, it's rough. It's rough. Yes, I have reasons. I wouldn't call them excuses because it doesn't actually excuse anything. But I have reasons. But nonetheless, thank you, as always. It's a good boon. It warms the heart. It does when folks actually stop by to these things that, honestly, I do simply because, and I do enjoy them. Like 90% of the time. I think last week's was terrible. I was in such a bad mood. I was just like, I need to be here, and that was the only thing that fueled me to be there, and that is not a presence in which folks feel like welcome. But a bit better today, even though, like, the mental state's about the same in the back of my mind. The drive is there to do better, so I'm glad about that. But yeah, thank you. I do have a lot on the plate. I mean, compared to others, maybe not. But everything's freaking relative. For me, I have a lot on my plate, right? Like, compared to most of what I've dealt with most of my life, I have a lot on my plate. But to others, I'm sure a lot of other folks have done that. So the next installment, though, let me go. I showed this earlier, so I don't mind showing it again. Is it still open though? That would be most swell. It is not. Okay, is it open somewhere though, where I can just like click on it, or are you just gonna be a? Okay, we're just gonna have to extract it again. No. They should be at the bottom. That's another thing I'm hugely behind is organization of my filing system on this PC. Would speed things up like this. So this is where we're at on that, Mr. Ernst. Doug, however you would wish to have me address you. I just want to show respect. I don't mean to be disrespectful by using the Mr. Nor do I mean to be disrespectful by using Doug. I don't know. People call me all kinds of things. I've been called Corey more than Cody most of the time. So, like, as long as I know somebody's talking to me, I'm okay with it. Display screen. Display screen. There we go. I was like, where's the button? I don't have to use a button. Up to page 24 on colors. Should be finished by the end of the year. That's where we're at. Hopefully the digitals are delivered by the end of next month. And then we'll be going to print. As soon as the digitals are done, we're going to print. I think we can cram everything that needs to be done. So the extra content, the production of it from our wonderful, what would you call that guy? Pre-production guy, Nico Buffo. I don't see why we couldn't do that unless something has come up to his schedule at that time. But yeah, almost done. It's a beautiful book. It's the best art we've produced. At least both artists agree on that, and if they're happy about that, then I'm happy with it. I think it is. I also like I think it's my favorite plot that we've produced, but I am still just terribly intimidated by actually putting the narrative to the page properly. So I got to do another. I still got to redo another lettering script, but that's how it goes. I'll get there. But it is a pretty thing. It's a
Douglas
pretty thing.
Ernst said, "Nice Douglas ILEE doodly anything works smiling face with open
Most
mouth and
people are
smiling
like
eyes.
that. Some people aren't.
Josh the amazing on the matter said, back.
Very, very cool. I hope the kiddo was all right. Just catching Doug up on this stuff. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're almost there. We're almost done. Finish line still. Closing the campaign on the 1st. Thanks to Josh here, we actually it might be possible to hit that 15K in the next week. That'd be swell, just to be able to say, yeah, we hit 15K. Our last record was 14.5, I think, if we count in demand, which I would be counting in demand with this one. So that would be swell to get up to that next 1,000, to just be able to say that we did it. But like, at the end of the day, it's just not that different than any other time. So yeah, we're grinding. We're grinding. Maxie did his job beautifully. Steve is doing his job beautifully. I'm hopefully going to do that job competently. And I'm sure Vince will do it beyond competently once he gets to the lettering. Everybody always carries their weight very well. I have a lot more angles to carry that weight, so that's why I think it's only about competent, because there's so many different angles I've got to cover. But I'm hoping the art continues to speak for itself, and we continue to produce a professional, the most professional, unprofessional comic out there. A lot of folks will consider themselves hobbyists when I think they are by far being the literal definition of professionals at it. Maybe not living off of the finances. I guess that would be the line, right? that would be the line between a professional and a career of it, and somebody who's not. But wonderful quote from Battle Angel Alita that's probably going to take me far too long to pull up, but let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, I got to read that. I'll throw yo. Okay, no, I did hear that properly. Not sure what you mean, Mr. Smelling, but no. Take care. Thank you, as always, for stopping by. Wonderful talent there. Please follow him on the social medias. Very cool cat. We've been working together on something behind the scenes for a while. You may have seen one of the pieces that we produced together. I'm excited. To continue those. Bookmarks, though. Bookmarks. Where are you? If I can find the quote on professionals, I think if that's the case, then I guess I can call myself a professional. But nonetheless, let me get to it, because I really like the quote. In the story, it's one of the spin-offs. Damn that internet, indeed. But no, take care. Have a wonderful time, man. I'm not even sure what time it is over in Germany. It's crazy. It's crazier here. Oh! That makes sense. Cool. Do I even have that open? I don't have that open, but I will get to it. I will open Discord at some point today. I'm really bad at keeping that open and then checking it. Lately, I've been far worse on keeping up on these angles, period. On the comic book, social media, networking angles, period. I've been crap. There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it is, 1:30 today. It's 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon for me. Oh, come on. You're getting somewhere. I will get to this quote. That it is. I also agree. It's good to see him. I hope he's well. Oh, please retry and actually work and not throw me to the top, Twitter. Okay, cool. Man, Twitter really disincentivizes retweeting bookmarks, and so what they'll do sometimes is just throw you back to the top when you're scrolling through them. For me, bookmarks are super important for a bunch of reasons. It bothers me. But I get it. They want new content, right? They don't want you redoing. Okay, we're almost there. Almost. So I just saw one that was around the same time. There it is! So, there's a side character in Battle Angel Alita, the manga. Okay, I'll let Mr. Schmeling say. See ya! Have a good one. Adios, amigo. Va con Dios. There's a side character, a little girl, who falls in with a bad crowd. She's not a little girl. I mean, she's a little guy, 12, 13, 14, teenage girl. Who falls in with the wrong crowd, basically a AI. All of Battle Angel Alita is discussing Theseus' ship, where how many parts of a ship can you replace before it's a new ship, before it's no longer the ship before, and it does that through transhumanism and the soul, spirituality, all kinds of different stuff. A wonderful read if that's something important to you. His thoughts on it are incredible, and how they present him are just beautiful. But anyway, she falls in with a warlord who's like he wants to destroy the society that is currently there to create a new one, for a lot of different reasons. He's a giant. He's I don't know, 40, 50 feet tall, cyborg, centaur guy. She's like just falls in love with his ideals and his charisma and all that. But anyway, after he's defeated, spoilers, by Alita, this little girl kind of falls in with Alita for a little bit, and then she wanders off, and she wants to become a journalist. That's what she ends up becoming. So she's trying to take pictures and report to this guy, and the whole side story, it's like a 30-page side story that's just her, is about her trying to figure out like how to be a professional doing that. What does that mean? And there's a couple, like her editor, the guy who puts together the news reports or whatever, the guy who's running the organization. I'm not sure if it's a paper or what. I don't remember. It's been a while. He says it's hitting your deadlines and it's getting the work done. And this is what she came to by the end of the story. This is what she thinks it was. And this is the giant cyborg, right, that she was following before he was defeated. But it's, I bet a pro is someone who's found their right place on their own. And it's walking your own path and doing the work you need to do. That's the final thought of it. That was the thesis of the one-shot. And I really like that one. Those are the professionals that I really respect and I take as examples. That's kind of what they've done. And there's a lot of folks who I don't like very much who have also done this. Who have found their place where they believe they should be on their own. And that's a hell of a thing. So if that's the definition we want to use a professional, I guess you could call me that. But otherwise, that's a bit too. And there's a lot of other folks, again, that if you're using this definition, absolutely they are. Even if they call themselves hobbyists. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's one more, which is kind of super important to me. And this is why I save these things, because these are scans or pictures of things I read that were important to me, right? That's part of the reason why I like bookmark feature so much. This is the other one, and you may have come across it a few times. It's not the greatest picture of it. I didn't have a scanner at that point. I don't have one now. I did for a little while. I just wish I had one around here. Is this. So, this is later into it. This is from basically the final arc of the sequel set of arcs. Battle Angel Alita ends very quickly and very bravely the first time, and then he was talked into kind of starting it again. And there was always a possibility he left that in the story, but it ended super bravely. Like, I've never seen another creator do that to their character to finish a work. It was really cool. Super brave again. Like, very cool. I was super struck by it. But then they rebooted it. It's like, oh, okay, fine. And then I get into it. It's like, he did have more to say. It's not like he just did it for the money. He did have more to say, which was good. And this is one of those things. Sex is it's six in German, right? And a lot of Alita Battle Angel is based in, not based in Germany, but it's based in German culture and German language. Her fighting style, Panzerkunst, right? There's a lot of that, so that's why they use sex in there. But it might also have a second meaning because of its sound in English. I never put it past creators to be that clever. But anyway, maybe I don't need anyone but myself. And yet, that's why I can't help but feel that all the people I've met have made me who I am. The fact that I'm even here now is only thanks to them. That struck me so much, particularly in comic book work and my own work. It's an idea I always try to keep close to the heart. And I hope it's self-evident why. But nonetheless, that's a big bit of that. It's a big bit of that. But that was from around the same reading session. One of the many reasons I just love this series, and I'm so glad it got some mainstream attention thanks to Rodriguez and Cameron. The movie's good. It crams, 4 or 5 arcs though into one thing, and each of those arcs had its own thing to say that's not said in the movie. But it's what always happens with adaptations. It didn't piss all over everything by doing that, at least. And I'm sad that I thought it was popular enough to get a sequel, but it looks like there's just not enough interest. But I totally recommend reading the series. It is incredible to see this mangaka grow. It's one of my favorite things about manga, and some indie titles, such as Common America. You see the creative team grow because they have enough time to. They have the effort and the will to continue to improve and keep going on a single set of expression, right? And I'm hoping, I know our artistic team is, but I'm hoping I will also be able to show that at least a few more times. One more time for sure, but at least a few more times. Yeah, I totally recommend it. It is super underrated. It combines deep philosophical thinking with some gorgeous and often very gory action pieces. It really tries to ground it realistically so that the ideas hit that much harder. It's a wonderful approach, and I really want to read through it again because I'm sure I missed a lot. And I've been meaning to do that for months. I'm just so behind on my reading. Still, I have Berserk Volume 41, and I started reading it, and it was printed poorly. Really pisses me off. There's a panel, like by page 5, that half of a dialogue bubble's cut off, and I'm just very frustrated with that because it's Miura's, it's the last bit of his work, and they couldn't even fucking print it properly. That bugs me. So I gotta actually look up like a digital scan of it, or for somebody else who maybe their book wasn't cut off there, because it's the bottom of a page, to be fair. It just wasn't like whoever did the print alignment didn't fucking pay attention, and it just went low, and I'm hoping it's not the whole print runs like that. Like, I'm hoping I could get a different copy, and that wouldn't be an issue. I haven't asked anybody, because I wanted to read the last expression of his work. Like, that's the last thing he put to page. Berserk it's another one that means a lot to me. It's instead of a Theseus ship, like what's the human soul, how much can change over time, what's being changed out, literal physical parts being changed out, all of that Alita Battle Angel tries to convey. Berserk instead conveys strength through trauma, and not like you're getting stronger because of the trauma. No. It's integrating the trauma into one's being and growing and accepting it and moving forward. It's not how it goes the whole time, but that's eventually where Miura took it, and it is a beautiful place to take such a horrific and dark work. It's wonderful, and I'm very disappointed. That's why I haven't read it. Did read One Piece Volume 101 though, and it's fun. We're still just in the middle of a battle. I really want I want Luffy to win again. Like, we're towards the end of an arc. I can feel it. It's not till April or May will I get to get another chance to read. It's frustrating. Because One Piece is just so much, and I was so spoiled being able to basically read 1 through chapter 1020 within like 7 months, right? Like, just grinding through it. So just being able to read one volume feels like I barely got anything. But he's been doing it for like 30 years, so I gotta, perspective. And I still gotta catch up on a lot of stuff. But yeah, 100%, like, thank you folks. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. We hit 2 hours. If there's something else folks want to discuss, I'm happy to stick around for another half hour or so. Otherwise, I'm probably going to call it here. Just so I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day cleaning. Because that's one of the other things that kind of falls on the wayside for me when I'm carrying a lot of weight. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just super, grateful you folks showed up this Christmas Eve. I know, everybody who has any kind of celebration around this time is super busy. Super busy. So it means a lot. That you'll spend a minute or two with this crazy guy who's, drop that thought. It's not a fun thought. But, yeah. Thank you. In a minute, because I don't think I have minutes. I showed the 2 newer animations for this month last stream. So I don't need to show that. I don't want to show all the colors up close because spoilers, but I did show them if folks were curious. I don't think there's any other updates. I did the Illustrator Monk. I'll show those one more time. The Illustrator Monk sketch cards are in to me, so they are ready to go out with the other sketch cards when that time comes. So that's excellent. It's very cool of him to do that and to make these and to sign them. And they just look so cool in person. Very cool stuff. So that's here. And so we're still moving forward. I just wish, wish we were faster, but at the same time, I don't know if it could get done faster. If I'm honest, I could be more of a slave driver, and I don't know if that would be a good thing. Honestly, I don't think it would be, if I'm 100% honest. If I did, I probably would be doing it. But it's the holidays. Artists need some breaks, some breathers, and it is disappointing that I did not guess the deadline properly this time. In fact, I tried to give more space, but at the same time, I tried to give it less space. So I do not know, but it will be coming. No question. All right then. Thank you folks so much for joining. Really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. The next time I catch you most likely will be a video on this channel talking about the deadlines, talking about my personal state, all those fun things, but that need to be conveyed. You've gotten hints of it, maybe a lot of it from the last stream, but it needs to be conveyed and then put out towards backers in particular so that they understand what's going on. Because sadly, I will be missing the deadline, and that is a fact. It's an undeniable fact. So we will see. Hopefully, I will not be missing the deadline on the digitals. We still actually can do that, but on the physicals, there is just I was very hopeful that we would make up a lot of time these last 2 months, and instead we lost time, which sucked, but is what it is. But yeah, thank you, and adios amigos, vaya con Dios, feliz Navidad, all that fun stuff. I truly hope this year, is the new year and this particular season that somewhat represents, not as much as the April version of it, but does it's a transitionary period. It's a time for celebration and for gratitude and for expressions of love and fellowship, and I hope you see and find so much of that in your time and experience here. I really do. This world needs more of that all the time, and I implore you to also make efforts to bring that to others. If there's one thing we can do for each other, it's to be grateful that we're all here together. And Les Claypool, thank God that boy's not alone. Like, just thank you. Adios. Yeah, Feliz Navidad.